Today we will be discussing USDJPY, where I left off from last week, what market has done, what we're expecting market to do now moving forward, and any opportunities that we find or any new gems that we find to help us collect as many coins as possible in this game, right? So with that said and done, we are going to get straight into it. So as it stands right now, we're on the daily chart and we can see the price from when I did the last video, which would have been 6 days ago, last week Wednesday. Price has been moving in a continuous direction, which is in an uptrend, right? So that's really good. So we've got price moving in this way, which is great, and I think it's necessary for me to put a trend line on this move right now, because this might come in handy at some point. And also we can see that price is now heading to the value high of the volume profile, right? So the value high area of the volume profile is heading right here, and currently it is sitting in a low value node. So price is heading to the value high area, currently sitting in a low value node, which therefore increases the probability that it might want to come down. Okay, even if it doesn't come down now, we have to look at this level right here, which I have already marked out, and that was the previous high, or the previous high. So I'm talking about previous high, right? So it's marked out from that area, and we're looking at 151.125. So in this area, as you can clearly see, we have a low value node, right? So with the low value node, as part of my my trading strategy using the volume profile, is I know that in those areas price normally makes a decision. Either it's going to blast through, so confirm continuation, or it's going to reject off that level. It does one of the two. Okay, so because I know that already, I keep an eye on these areas more so than the high value nodes. So these high value nodes, I do respect them. I know there's a lot of business being done in high value node areas, but however, they can be a hit or a miss. Where with the low value node areas, through experience, I always see something interesting happening in this area. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little level on here, low value node area, just so we know where it is. And now what I like to do as well is I'll add a few layers in there as well, because I actually think it looks cooler when I do it like that. You know, bring out my artistic skills. And then we add another layer in there. So these extra levels I'm adding on, they don't actually mean anything. I just like them because it just looks good to me. So why not? Why not, right? So we got a couple shades in here, and in a way it kind of, well, it doesn't really mean anything, but then again it could, right? Because the deeper the low value node area, for me, I would indicate that to say it's quite strong. So the deeper it goes in, the darker the shade gets within the various colors that I've put on. That's my theory anyways, right? So if price breaks through this low value node area right here, I'm expecting a retest. Okay, if it breaks through, I'm expecting a retest, and retest will be in the zone of 149.319, right? Then I'm expecting it to blast off into this area right here. Okay, once it gets to this area, once it's inside it, then we'll be waiting for the same sort of thing that took place here. Either it's going to blast through, which is then going to give us a retest, or it's going to collapse back on itself, at which point it's going to break this trend line. And when it breaks this trend line, chances are it's going to give us an indication to say that it's leaving a low value node area. So everything I've said now could happen in this area, because this is where price is right now. Okay, so current price at the making of this video is 148.866. so everything I've just said could happen in this area, right? But however, due to the strength of the move to the upside, I'm of the mindset that it probably ain't gonna happen in this area. It's probably gonna break through, and if it does break through, okay, you can join it to the upside for the retest, but just be mindful that price has left the high value area of the volume profile. So therefore, you want to keep an eye on all of these zones as price makes its way upwards, right? And as it makes its way upwards, you also got to bear in mind that the probability of price breaking back down again is quite high. So with that said, I just remembered one thing. I need to add more detail to this volume profile. So let's go back into it, and there we go. The histogram box. Okay, so reason why I've put something in here in the histogram box, it always lets me know where I'm actually deriving the price from, the volume profile from. So I always have a rough idea as to what I need to be doing, what I'm looking at, and most importantly, where this information is actually coming from. So if you look at this on a whole, the whole of USDJPY is in a giant range, right? So it's in a giant range. You can see that here. You can kind of see it up here as well. It's in the giant range. So with where price is leaving, heading to the upside, it makes a fair bit of sense to expect these things as price is moving upwards. So with that said, I would say exercise caution on this one, right? Exercise caution on this one. Let me go back into a actually wait. Let me flip this around, because we kind of want to see where everybody is. You want to see where everybody is. Okay, all right. So let's take a look to see what's happening. We can probably see through the low value node areas that are marked out already. So we got a bunch of sellers here. I'm not gonna lie, in this Forex game, there is a whole bunch of sellers sitting at key levels. I understand why they're there. So at this resistance level, we have a large body of sellers sitting right here. A large body of sellers sitting right there, and it's always good to know where these guys are, right? Especially if you're trading against them. So in this move, I'm going off the vibe that we're all buying the market, right? That has been the vibe that we've been going off from for a good couple weeks now, ever since price left this zone over here. And you can always refer back to that, because that will be in one of the videos in the Forex playlist. So you can go in there and just double check, and you see that all the details there. So ever since price left this zone, we've been in a bullish momentum in price moving upwards, right? So the vibe is where we're buying the market. We are taking buys, right? So it's been riding, but at the same time, there's been a number of sellers in this game, right? A number of sellers. Now, the thing with the Forex guys, right, is they're not in the market for a long period of time. These are really short-term traders, day traders on the 5-minute, 1-minute chart. So these sells I don't really take seriously, and these buys I don't really take seriously. I take certain buys at certain levels extremely serious. So for example, the guys up here, I know are serious players, right? Because chances are somebody's going to want to be selling it down. So all I have to do is find out if there's a rounded number in this location. And there is, because we're sitting between 151, so which means the next number down is 150, right? 150990. So we got a rounded number right here, which basically means that these guys are institutions, right? They like to sit near rounded numbers. And so 45 we had buyers, so chances are those were institutions as well. Okay, so 40 is all the way down. 40 is all the way down, and as you can see, 40 right here, right? So institutions like to sit near rounded numbers, right? Institutions really like to sit there. The average trader doesn't really bother too much about rounded numbers, okay? I don't even know if they're even aware of it. Not to say that they don't care or they're not in the know. They mainly focus on, just like how I was focused on, strategy, the plan of the market, pricing of the market, but you don't really put too much consideration on rounded numbers, and that's where institutions like to sit. So this is an assumption, but I'm assuming that banks are here. So an institution like, I don't know, for example, Nomura would be sitting right here getting ready to drop sales, and that's a Japanese merchant bank, right? So we definitely know they have a position between USD and JPY, right? So they'll be sitting around there, and we can see that they'll be sitting at various intervals through this journey to the upside, right? So with that said and done, like I said earlier, these are the moves that I'm expecting. If price breaks out of this zone right here, I'm expecting a retest at or near 149.298 to ride to the upside, where I know institutions are waiting to either buy more of the market or to sell, because you have a mixture of buyers and sellers at this location right here. So with that in mind, I will then wait to see if I can get a close above 151.524, right? If I get that, so price pushes through, I'm expecting a retest, then I will ride it to the upside, and we have some sellers in the area as well. So the question is, who's gonna be stronger, right? Whilst this is happening, I have my trend line underneath. When the trend line is broken, I know it will break around a low value node area. That's the one thing that I can guarantee. I don't have a crystal ball in the market, but I can guarantee that that will happen. And when it happens, I know I need to be selling. And then from that point, we're selling, right? So with that said and done, guys, if you stayed with this video up until now, big shout out to you, right? And do all the cool things that you're supposed to do. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, drop us a like, so whenever I drop a video, you're one of the first to see it. And I will see you all on the next one.